Coming up, Trinity is working to acknowledge injustice in its 150-year history.
And Counseling Services is offering a new discussion group to improve interpersonal communication.
All this and more right now on Newswave. Good afternoon, and welcome back from spring break. Today is Friday, March 22nd, and you are currently tuned in to TigerTV Newswave. I'm Luke McCauley.
And I'm Kayla Reese.
Trinity University recently concluded its event titled Rooting Trinity University's History, Past, Present, Future, held on February 29th and March 1. This series of lectures and discussions marked the culmination of a project launched back in spring 2018. The Roots Commission, a joint effort between university administration and faculty, is dedicated to shedding light on Trinity's historical involvement in racism and injustice, known to be concerning chattel slavery and its connection to the Texas antebellum economy. The conference's inaugural day featured Ruth J. Simmons, former Brown University president, renowned for her work in addressing university's ties to slavery. Panel discussions on the second day highlighted Trinity's challenge in confronting its founders' ties to white supremacy, emphasizing the importance of acknowledging this history. Dr. Aaron Kramer, assistant professor of history, raised concerns about Trinity's focus on its 1869 founding date, which overlooks the displacement of indigenous communities by settler colonialism. These discussions underscore the necessity of critically examining Trinity's past and its relevance today.
Before the break, a new anonymous discussion-based app called Fizz was introduced to Trinity students. Fizz was created by 2 Stanford undergrads to help students stay connected during the pandemic. During the last 2 weeks of February, students had the opportunity to download the app and make some cash by reposting them on socials and tabling for them in front of Coates Student Center. A Fizz Trinity ambassador, Kylie King, shared that, quote, Fizz helps the Trinity community get more connected with each other. While Fizz may help bring students together, the anonymity element of the platform worries some students. According to Liam Worsley, a sophomore communication science major, quote, the most memorable posts were usually directed at fraternities or sororities and saying very weird and extremely not true and hurtful stuff towards those organizations. Fizz has generated mixed feelings from students and continued the debate over the merit of anonymous digital free speech on Trinity campus that began with the rise of the TU complaints in the fall.
Trinity's Health and Wellness Services have partnered with the San Antonio AIDS Foundation in a campus-wide initiative to promote safe sex by installing condom dispensers in bathrooms in residential areas. This initiative stems from data indicating students are already using condoms but lack easy access. Alongside providing condoms, Wellness Service aims to educate the campus community on safe sexual health through weekly tabling sessions and working with new members of fraternities and sororities. The San Antonio AIDS Foundation is supporting the initiative by providing free STI testing and additional condom supplies. While statistics on students' usage of the dispensers are still up in the air, peer educators note positive signs, with some dispensers needing refilling within weeks of installation. Anusa Shamara, a junior neuroscience major and psychology major, and peer health educator, has expressed optimism that the initiative will reduce taboos around promoting positive sexual experiences. Overall, the initiative aims to ensure easy access to condoms and foster open conversations about sexual health on campus, with ongoing efforts to track its impact.
Trinity's Counseling Services have created a new discussion group to improve student communication skills. This group is called Hello, and it was founded by 3 employees at Counseling Services, Claudia Kai-Pyros, Monica Solis-Hoffel, and Mal Diaz. According to the Trinitonian, the group will meet in 70-minute sessions where participants will learn communication skills through educational lessons, activities, and reflections. Each session will focus on a different topic, as students aim to strengthen different areas of their communication skills. For example, one skill is identifying a meaningful conversation. As Claudia Kai-Pyros explains, quote, not every conversation is going to be dynamic and meaningful, and that's okay. That's life, right? There are some encounters and some conversations that are just going to be uneventful and boring. Hello is particularly focused on improving communication among students in a post-pandemic landscape. Monica Solis-Hoffel explained that, quote, students can often struggle with tone, saying, quote, We're not used to speaking in different tones, so sometimes someone will come and they're yelling at you, but the intention is not that they're yelling. That's just the tone that they've gotten used to during the pandemic. While the future of Hello beyond this year is uncertain, Counseling Services hopes that they can make a positive impact by helping students communicate.
Still coming up, Prince Harry and Meghan Markle visit to San Antonio.
And your weekly weather update.
All this and more after this behind-the-scenes look into the Tiger Network team here at Trinity.
It's no secret that sports are a popular pastime for people across the world, but have you ever wondered how the action appears on your screen? To show you the process, I was able to get a behind-the-scenes look at Tiger Network, Trinity's sports broadcasting organization.
First and foremost, I get a lot of students to come in and be like, hey, I'm looking for an on-campus job. I don't know much about broadcasting. We do a lot of athletic events. I don't know much about sports. And the first thing I tell them, I said, that's perfectly fine. And I tell them the one thing you're going to take away from this is, it's a great opportunity to work within a team.
Similar to Leroy, a broadcast involves many moving parts, with some people in the control room and others right by the action.
I really like doing camera work because you're actually out there, like in the gym or on the field or anything, rather than, watching the game through a screen, even though you're like right next to the action, but then you're watching it through a screen. Well, on the camera, you're out in the gym, you get to see the game with your own eyes, although most of the time you still are watching it through a screen because you're looking at the camera screen. But, you get to hear the people around and all the noises and everything. Like, you get the whole environment of being at the game.
There's no doubt that being a camera operator gives you an interesting perspective on a game. And Adam was nice enough to show us how his camera works.
It's really easy. You just move side to side and up and down with the little handle here. And then to zoom, you can go right to zoom in and left to zoom out. And depending on how hard you push is how fast it'll zoom. And then really, the easiest way to film sports is just to follow the ball. So you can zoom in.
While Adam and other camera operators get good shots of the game, it's up to the people in the control room to put it all together. Similar to behind the camera, most of those workers are students.
The energy that the students bring is special for me because, it's a lively atmosphere. You're going to come in and, normally for a game we've got between 8 to 12 students kind of running the show. And that's kind of one of the cool things about what we do here at Tiger Network is students kind of run everything. It's my job to put everybody into successful opportunities, train everybody up as much as we can. But then, whether it be, from switching, we'll have best practices. But truly, I leave it to students to kind of, figure out like when is the right time to make a cut on the cameras or, when is the right moment to, pull in a replay or for the student announcers, what are they going to talk about? How did they prepare for it? Those types of things, seeing that type of, transition and how the students kind of take control of the aspect of it all is a pretty unique experience for myself. Like I said, I do a lot of the behind the scenes stuff, making sure everything's going to be ready to go and that we've got the right number of cameras and they're going to be in the right type of position, that we've worked with the rest of the university and getting infrastructure needs done and everything else. But then, on a event by event basis, seeing how the team basically come together and how they pull off a full on broadcast, where I kind of, take a step back and just let them have control of it. That's really one of the unique aspects of working with students.
Josh Makanjemba is a great supervisor. I wouldn't have anyone else. Ryan Cedillo's awesome. All of our SIDs are awesome. It's just everyone here is awesome. There's not one person here where I'd be like, ugh, going and working with, because everyone here, like, they know what we're doing here. And I think because we're kind of that connected with each other, it makes that work environment just so much better overall than comparatively just sitting up and doing nothing in an office somewhere else on campus. It's just, this place is awesome. You meet so many cool people here, and I think I've gotten a lot of friends through Tiger Network.
People of all different experience levels work at Tiger Network, and there's an opportunity and value for everyone.
Gain a lot of valuable skills. Even if you're not going to go into the broadcast side of things, you learn how to react quickly on your feet, giving a live presentation basically. You learn to work within the scope of a team. I think those are two very big aspects that we can provide here. And then for those that, have passion for what they're doing, and they come in here and they're like, hey, I love calling games, or I love working the camera, being a part of a broadcast crew is something I kind of want to go into. The university, I think, has been fundamental in providing us great resources. The machines that we use are very much what you're going to find if you went to go work for a major production company like ESPN or Fox Sports.
Tiger Network will continue to broadcast Trinity sports throughout the year. So next time you watch Trinity basketball take the floor, remember, they aren't the only team at work.
Welcome back to Newswave. San Antonio City Council members are in line for a raise, but according to KSAT.com, they aren't all happy about it. Council members currently take home $45,700 a year, a salary based on San Antonio's median income in 2015. Last fall, in response to the rising cost of living, Mayor Ron Nierenberg tasked the Charter Review Commission with proposing pay raises for City Council members. Over spring break, the Commission released its preliminary recommendations on the subject. The report proposed indexing City Council salaries to a percentage of the median salary for City of San Antonio director-level employees. This reclassification would mean City Council members could earn anywhere between $75,000 to $125,000 each year. Despite the significant raise, many City Council members are unhappy with the proposal. A cohort of 4 members interviewed by KSAT explained that they would be receiving too much money. District 4 Councilwoman Adriana Rocha Garcia expressed that, quote, "The work that we do might be at a director level, but I also think that we need to be sensitive to what our residents in San Antonio are making and not be out of line with that." The proposal is still in its preliminary stage, so nothing is set in stone. But when the Charter Review Commission releases its final report in the spring, we here at Newswave will be sure to let you know.
After a week of cold and wet weather, Newswave's chief meteorologist, Luke Morton, is here to let you know what to expect in the coming weeks. Take it away, Luke.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to another weekend. I hope you all had a good spring break, and let's jump right into the forecast. This week has overall been a bit cloudy and dreary. Temperatures have also been a bit below average for this time of year. However, this weekend will be quite a bit different. The temperatures will be in the mid-80s, which is much warmer than normal, and skies will be mostly sunny. On Saturday, there should be a bit more clouds, and we're looking at a high near 80. And on Sunday, it should be mostly cloudy with highs in the mid-70s, and lows will be in the mid to upper 50s for this weekend. Next week should start out mostly cloudy, but a front will move in that should clear out our skies for the latter part of the week. Look for highs next week to be in the mid-70s to near 80 and lows in the mid-50s. Looking ahead to the Easter weekend, it should be a pretty calm weekend with partly cloudy skies and highs near 80. And after that, it's already April. I hope you all had a wonderful weekend and take it easy out there, and I'll see you soon.
Prince Harry and Meghan Markle visited the Alamo City earlier this month. The couple are the founders of the Archwell Foundation, a nonprofit that works with community partners in 11 cities, including San Antonio. The Archwell Foundation strives to create a sense of belonging for resettled Afghan women through activities such as sewing and hiking. During the visit, Harry and Meghan stopped at the Family Service Neighborhood Place Community Center on the west side, where Meghan gave some remarks on the importance of local programs and participated in bread making alongside Afghan women. San Antonio First Lady Erica Prosper and District 5 Councilwoman Terry Castillo. After a meal, both Harry and Meghan also sat down with local business owners and community leaders to learn about the local Afghan community. The former royal couple has already been invited back to San Antonio for the Road Refugee Fashion Show in the fall.
At West Texas A&M, students are rallying against President Walter Wendler's decision to cancel a campus drag show. This comes after the U.S. Supreme Court turned down students' efforts to prevent President Wendler from canceling yet again another drag show. This was the same decision he made a year ago, stating that, quote, "the performances degrade women." Following this year's decision, he sent out an email explaining that the current cancellation of the drag show was, quote, "denied for the reasons given previously. No one should claim a right to contribute to women's suffering via a slapstick sideshow that erodes the worth of women." The Texas Tribune explains that students sued the president of West Texas A&M over the violation of their First Amendment rights. Although it was denied by the Texas federal court, students continued to file an emergency application with the Supreme Court, which will appear before the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals. This trial won't start until April, but until then, there's no guarantee another drag show won't be canceled. In light of this controversy, President Wendler is being condemned by the faculty, who have deplored his, quote, "divisive, homophobic, and non-inclusive rhetoric." That stands in stark contrast with the core values of the university. For now, all eyes are on the Supreme Court, which has agreed to hear the case and weigh in on the complex intersection of free speech, community values, and individual rights. As this story continues to develop and the fate of drag performance at West Texas A&M hangs in the balance, we here at Newswave will be sure to keep you updated.
Still up ahead, Oregon is looking to reverse course on a controversial drug policy.
And is TikTok in danger of being banned for good?
Stick around and find out after this short message.
Patriotism. It inspires passionate debate and it's worn like a badge of honor with good reason, because it means love and devotion for one's country. But what really makes up this country of ours? It's the people. To love America is to love all Americans. This year, patriotism shouldn't just be about pride of country. It should be about love. Love beyond age, sexuality, disability, race, religion, and other labels. Because love has no labels.
In early March, the House of Representatives passed a bill requiring ByteDance, the Chinese owner of TikTok, to divest its U.S. assets within 6 months or face a nationwide ban on the app. However, experts argue that completing such a complex transaction in such a short time frame is highly implausible. According to the Washington Post, the sale would involve financial, technical, and geopolitical challenges, including separating a company potentially valued at $150 billion from its technical infrastructure amidst legal challenges and resistance from China. Even if a buyer were found, regulatory hurdles and antitrust scrutiny could prolong the process, increasing the chance of failure. Former Treasury Secretary Steven Mnuchin and other wealthy investors have expressed interest in acquiring TikTok, but challenges remain, including the reluctance of China to approve a sale and the potential for retaliatory measures against U.S. companies. The bill's supporters claim it's not a ban, but practical difficulties raise the likelihood of failure to meet the deadline, leading to a nationwide block of the app. With the future of one of the most popular social media platforms in jeopardy, Newswave will be sure to keep you updated as the story develops.
During the pandemic, Oregon made history as the first state to decriminalize the possession of hard drugs. But just 3 years later, the state is looking to reverse course. In 2020, Oregon voted to decriminalize hard drugs in a first-of-its-kind referendum called the Drug Addiction Treatment and Recovery Act, also known as Measure 110. The ballot measure sought to solve Oregon's drug overdose crisis with a focus on the health elements of addiction. The practical implications of this measure were the decriminalization of drug use and increased investment in addiction treatment networks statewide. Despite the emphasis on care over criminalization, many in Oregon who initially supported Measure 110 are now working to overturn it. Debates about the continued drug crisis began last September with testimony from law enforcement, relatives of overdose victims, and behavioral health providers. On Thursday, February 29th, the Oregon House passed the bipartisan House Bill 4002, which aims to unwind Measure 110 and recriminalize drug use. The bill would recriminalize the possession of hard drugs, but also creates an avenue for drug addicts to avoid jail time by enrolling in addiction treatment plans. The bill awaits approval from the Senate and the governor's office, but reporting from the Oregon Capitol Chronicle indicates that its confirmation is expected.
Since our last episode, Donald Trump has all but secured the Republican nomination for president with the dropout of his main opponent, Nikki Haley. But in more recent news, the former president has been unable to secure a bond payment of roughly $464 million for his civil fraud case. Though Trump's defense has been working to secure a payment with multiple companies, they've not been able to come to an agreement with next week's deadline fast approaching. If the defense is not able to come before Monday, Trump and his associates will lose over $18 million, which will not be recoverable even if they won the case. Along with the defense working on securing the necessary funding, they are also working to get the fine reduced or nullified. With the Monday deadline on the horizon, we will let you know if the former president can come up with the money.
The capital of Haiti, Port-au-Prince, has been in a post-apocalyptic state for months now. Port-au-Prince has seen intense gang control and popular unrest that has continued growing since the start of this month. Criminal groups have been attacking what remains of the Haitian state, such as airports, police stations, government buildings, and the National Penitentiary. For frequent kidnappings, torture, and rape by gangs, citizens of Haiti have been forced to take matters into their own hands, forming their own vigilante movement known as Balkali, an anti-gang movement approved by the police. In bleak times, this movement has worked to push back the Tai Maka gang from several of the city's residential areas. Despite partnership with local police, these vigilante groups have also lynched hundreds of suspected criminals and gang members, according to an October 2023 report from the United Nations. When competing gangs and violent vigilante groups competing for influence throughout the city, the nation's capital seems trapped in a state of disarray for the foreseeable future.
Coming up, we've got breaking news from the United Nations.
And a volcanic eruption in Iceland.
All this and more when Newswave returns.
Here you go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Breaking news in the international community. Around 9:30 this morning, the UN Security Council failed to pass the United States resolution concerning the humanitarian crisis in Gaza. The measure called for an immediate ceasefire for the duration of 6 weeks to protect civilians and allow for the delivery of humanitarian aid. The language of the resolution reflects Washington's dwindling support of the Israeli war effort, as the use of words like ceasefire would have been unthinkable in earlier phases of the conflict. Despite the supposed toughening on the part of the United States, several nations maintain that the resolution did not take enough steps to protect Palestinian civilians. The resolution was blocked by the vetoes of China and Russia, making this the newest exchange in a series of rejections between the global powers. Before spring break, Newswave ran a story in the United States vetoing a Security Council resolution that sought to implement a permanent ceasefire in Gaza. Russia's ambassador to the UN criticized the U.S. resolution as, quote, exceedingly politicized, and deemed it an executive green light for Israel to mount an invasion in Rafah. As the humanitarian crisis in Gaza drags on, it is becoming gravely apparent the UN Security Council may be ill-equipped to foster a lasting peace.
Up now, we've got your sports update with Newswave sports editor Caleb Reed.
Hello everyone and welcome back to sports. My name is Caleb Reed and let's get into it. It has been a fantastic season so far for softball, who went 7-2 over the break to extend their record out to 15-7. The team is rolling into this weekend's 3-game series against St. Thomas on a 4-game win streak. having swept Latorno and La Roche over the break after losing 2 games to UMHB. The Tigers were led by great performances up and down the lineup, with junior Sidney Watson leading the charge by going 5 for 6 against the Cardinals. Freshman Samantha Tagawa has set a new program record, shattering the record for walks in a single season before the halfway point. She now has 27 coming into the 3-game series against rival St. Thomas. Meanwhile, Trinity Baseball hosted their first conference series of the season, defeating Southwestern in 2 of their 3 games to start the conference strong. The Tigers won their first 2 games of the series but lost the third, but won their most recent game against East Texas Baptist to earn a 12-6 season record so far. They've had their own action too, heading on the road to play Schreiner University in Kerrville this weekend. Over in professional sports, the NFL free agency period started before the break, resulting in several massive moves for numerous teams. The Pittsburgh Steelers signed quarterback Russell Wilson to a vet minimum $1.2 million deal, while also acquiring Justin Fields from the Chicago Bears. Additionally, the Philadelphia Eagles signed running back Saquon Barkley away from the rival New York Giants, but the move only dulls the sting made by the retirements of longtime Eagles Fletcher Cox and, most notably, future Hall of Fame center Jason Kelce. In professional baseball, we are less than a week away from opening day, but that hasn't stopped drama from brewing before the start of America's pastime. Shohei Ohtani, widely considered one of the best baseball players in decades, and certainly one of the best in the league, has been involved in controversy after his interpreter reportedly gambled away millions in Ohtani's earnings. Ohtani and the interpreter initially claimed that he was just helping his interpreter get out of debt, but the claim was later retracted, with Ohtani's management later claiming that the money was stolen. The case is under federal investigation, which could have dire consequences if it isn't settled. That's all from me. I hope that you all have a great afternoon and a wonderful weekend.
Russia's President Vladimir Putin has won his 5th election in a landslide. This victory sets Putin up to be the longest-serving Russian leader in almost 200 years. Though the election results were 87.9% for Putin, the leader faced local and global opposition to his re-election. Alexei Navalny, a leader in opposition to Putin, died in a remote prison just 1 month before the presidential election. Since then, protests have been held in Navalny's honor, with many Russians writing his name on their ballots and bringing them to his grave. However, many protesters were arrested in Moscow and St. Petersburg after violent acts like fires and explosives were used. Many political leaders around the world voiced their opinions on the election, with North Korean leader Kim Jong-un sending congratulations to Putin on his victory. However, other Western leaders, like British Foreign Secretary and former Prime Minister David Cameron, voiced their concerns about the process, writing that, quote, "This is not what free and fair elections look like."
This past Saturday, a state of emergency was declared in Iceland due to the eruption of a volcanic fissure on the Reykjanes Peninsula. This marked the 4th eruption in the area since December, forcing people to evacuate the area once again. According to CBS News, this eruption occurred in a similar location to a previous one that occurred on February 8th. The lava from the fissure is slowly south towards the fishing village of Grandavik. However, the village is protected by levees built to block the lava from reaching the village. The eruption occurred with little warning, as specialists were alerted to seismic activity that signaled a possible eruption mere minutes before it actually happened. Melissa Izar, a tourist visiting Iceland, said, quote, "We heard the sound go off, and that's when me and my husband looked at each other, and they said evacuation en route." Iceland is home to 33 active volcano systems, which is the most in Europe. And volcanoists believe the seismic activity causing these eruptions is the beginning of new earthquake patterns in the region.
Sadly, that's all the time we have for today.
Newswave's next episode will come after Easter Sunday, as next Friday we have a campus-wide day off for Good Friday.
From everyone here at Newswave, we hope you'll have a wonderful weekend and enjoy your day off next week. Until next time, I'm Kara Reese.
And I'm Luke McCauley. Thanks for tuning in.